they say we don't think it will be profitable if we make them exclusive. They're not saying explicitly we will not make them exclusive. They're just making a statement which will help the deal go through. Hello everybody and welcome to WCCF Tech podcast again. It's like it's routine now or something. I know. I actually don't know what the topic's going to be today. I'm being led by surprise. So, I imagine part of it's going to be Sony and Microsoft pissing in each other's cornflakes. And other than that, delays. So, I mean, let's just start with delays. Go on, Alessio. Tell us about every single game that's been delayed ever.
Well, that would take like 10 podcasts. But no, just sticking to this week, there's been a kind of a record number of delays for a single week, I think. The first one was Arc Raiders, the debut game from Embark Studios. They are a Swedish team founded by former DICE executive Patrick Soderlund. He worked on Battlefield, for example. And well, the game is, like I said, it's being delayed to next year. But on the other hand, they're actually releasing another game sooner than that, so probably late this year. Only this game is more of a smaller scale title. It's basically a team-based first-person shooter game, whereas Arc Raiders is a free-to-play, basically looter shooter game, and I think maybe open world too. So it's more complex. So they are delaying a game, but they are at least releasing another one first. So it's not a complete loss for Nexon, which is the publisher for this year. And well, then there's another delay for Marvel's Midnight Suns, which, as you might recall, was originally scheduled to release in, I think, April. Then it was moved to October, and now, well, we actually don't have a firm release date yet, but basically the implication is that it could be coming now in early 2023. So basically before the end of the fiscal year in March. And again, of course, the reasons are always the same: improving the game, adding more polish, and whatnot. So those were the first two that were announced early in the week. But then we got some even bigger ones. For example, we got the delays of
Everything.
Nightingale.
Who?
It's Nightingale is basically the survival action game that's being developed by a former Bioware producer.
Okay.
And they were basically launching in early access later this year, but again, it's been delayed to next year. And well, the good news is that they're also taking this time to upgrade to Unreal Engine 5. So hopefully it will take advantage of its more advanced features like Lumen, Nanite, and others. Then we also got the delay of the Throne and Liberty MMO from NCSoft. It was basically the only AAA MMO scheduled this year. So as a fan, it
Not
sucks.
anymore.
And it's been delayed to the first half of next year. And there's also a rumor going around that Amazon Games might be publishing it. at least in North America and Europe, which makes sense because they've been quite successful with Lost Ark, another South Korean game. So maybe it will turn out to be true. NCSoft just said they are looking to partner up with some companies, so discussions are still ongoing. But I guess we should learn more in the coming months, and maybe there could be some beta testing in order to later this year. So maybe we'll get our hands on it in some way. And finally, and sadly, Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed, so you cannot play this game.
Oh my god! Well, that is not surprising at all. There was too much silence.
The only game I was looking forward to.
Well, the good news
Why
is
is
that
it the games I want just get delayed like forever? Like
Well, that's what
Vampire the
everyone can
Masquerade.
say.
No, nobody gets it as bad as I do. Because I only look for like a handful of games every year. I don't get excited over every game. And the two like I've been looking forward to. Well, this one of them's one of them's were meant to come out like 10 years ago. Beyond Good and Evil 2. That's like I might be dead by the time that releases. More than likely.
actually that's a good assist, Chris, because we also got a new report for Beyond Good and Evil 2 this week.
That it's going to come out sometime in 2040.
No, apparently
Within the
it's still quite rough, so at least a couple of years away from release.
Still quite rough. That was originally announced over 10 years ago. Or something silly like that.
They probably rebooted development.
Yeah, probably about 10 times.
The current incarnation was announced at E3 2017. So,
yes, and that's absurd.
5 years.
Yeah, that's absurd. Yeah, the games I'm after is like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. That's, well, yeah.
Lost.
And now Hogwarts Legacy.
Well, the good news...
At least it's not a big delay, though.
Yeah, that was what I was saying, because it's coming out in February. Again, it's not technically the first delay, because Hogwarts Legacy was originally announced as a 2021 game, actually. So, yeah. Well, it's not surprising anyway. Warner Bros. Games tend to be delayed for at least a couple of years. But, yeah, like Francesco said, it's... I was counting on the game to launch in late November or early December, so early February is really just a couple of months. So it's really just about fixing bugs, I guess, and stuff like that. And also, it's very near to my birthday, so
that doesn't mean you get to review it. I've bagged it already. I bagged it already. I only ask for like a handful of games a year. Not even a handful. Most games are shit. In fact, most games I just get told, "Oh, Chris, nobody else wants these. You can have it, you freak."
It's all right. You'll review it, but anyway,
I can imagine I am Hermione. Or with
so
Hermione.
you have to survive until February 2023 now.
It's a long time.
But it's interesting because basically now the only really big games, well, except Call of Duty and stuff like that, but the only really big games coming out this fall now are God of War and I guess Pokemon. So God of War, if it's not delayed, I think it will really make a kick, because it doesn't really have any kind of competition.
Just
speak of.
thinking, are they the only games that are really coming out?
Well, no, there is more stuff even in
Yeah,
October,
no, I
but
mean, I
it's
know, but I was saying
smaller
big
stuff.
games.
Not
It's
on.
mostly Square Enix stuff coming out. They're releasing like two games per month.
Yeah.
Well,
There is also Gotham Knights, I guess. Hopefully that will be decent at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say,
But
obviously, yeah, Pokemon and what else?
in
I'm trying to
November,
think.
that's
God of War Ragnarok. Hogwarts Legacy was probably the only game that could rival with God of War Ragnarok when it comes to popularity. So it's Pokemon has its fan base. It's not
I
going
mean,
to.
I suppose technically they've still got the Saints Row coming out.
Saints Row is coming out just like next week. Or
I know it's still technically this year though. I know what you mean.
yeah.
I don't know really. I just don't know what. Yeah. Like you say, a lot of things have been moved, but it seems to happen every single year now.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
everything is coming out in February again.
I
Between
mean,
February and March again.
there's the Last of Us remake as well, but that's not big. That's just a remake.
yeah, it's. I think we're going to see some.
I remember one. Splatoon 3. Isn't that coming out this year?
So next month, I think it's coming out in
Yeah.
September.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Well, Nintendo has a game a month from now
Yeah, to be fair,
until
Nintendo have got
November.
quite a few. They've got Kirby coming out. They've got
Yeah,
Splatoon. They've got Pokemon.
the Bayonetta 3 coming in October.
I did
Yeah.
not know that.
Yeah.
There are a few games coming out before the end of the year, but I was talking about the really big ones. Those that sell more than 10 million.
Yeah.
So. And as Francesco said, it's going to be a really packed first half of 2023.
Again.
It's happening every single year now.
Yeah, it's happening too often.
Every year, too. Yeah, it's annoying. Then again, it is what it is. There's not much that can be done about it. Nothing we can do about it, anyway.
I reckon some games will be delayed even further, though, even just to get away from the biggest titles, because otherwise they could get slaughtered.
All I'm thinking now is what games are there coming out for the rest of the year for me to review now everything's been delayed. I can only think of one, The Devil in Me.
Everything that other people don't want to play.
Yeah, well, apart from that. I mean, okay, the ones that I traditionally do. I mean, obviously, The Devil in Me, because I've reviewed like every supermassive game now. And that's it.
Company of Heroes 3.
Oh, yeah, Company of Heroes 3. I am the strategy person, so I will get that. But that's if it comes out this year. That still could get delayed.
If you put it like that, pretty much any game could be delayed.
Yeah, but there are some safe bets. Like The Devil in Me is not going to get delayed. They've been pretty. Yeah.
There's also the Callisto Protocol. That one hopefully is going to be fairly good.
Okay.
So we'll see.
You have stuff to play. Don't be pessimistic.
I am being optimistic. There's going to be Goat Simulator 3.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you enjoy that.
To be fair, the first one I played the first one and I enjoyed it for what it was. I never played the second one. Oh, and then there's Star Ocean. So yeah, there are a few games. We'll see. But anyway.
Also, Bannerlord is coming out, so you can review that as well.
Again?
Yeah, well, it was a preview.
I know. Yeah.
It's been a while. But yeah, don't worry, guys. There are still some games coming out. There's also a Plague Tale, Requiem. So
yeah. Good.
Right. One was very good.
So we've covered delays. Everything's delayed until next year again. So,
yeah.
What's next then? Sony and Microsoft having a bit of a bitch?
Yeah. Well, basically, the Brazilian government has begun kind of a review process of the Activision Blizzard merger. And in doing so, they basically opened a can of worms, so to speak, because they asked all major publishers to chime in. And, well, basically everyone didn't really have lots of objections to the matter, but of course Sony did. And they said basically Call of Duty was irreplaceable and that it could influence basically console sales if it was made exclusive. And and then, well, Microsoft, of course, answered back. They said that the game is not irreplaceable in that there is nothing unique about it. It's just the biggest of its kind. But it also, accused Sony of paying publishers to block basically Game Pass. With they're basically doing so-called block fees for Game Pass, at least according to Microsoft.
It's a strong accusation. They must have some evidence to make that accusation.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And they've also basically said Sony is hypocritical because exclusivity strategies have been at their core for decades now.
Yeah, agreed. Don't get me wrong. I still don't like the purchase of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft, but I agree. It's very hypocritical for Sony to piss and whine when they've been doing that, like just paying for certain games. I mean, how long did they just have the Final Fantasy franchise on their own? Yeah.
Not that much time though, because Final Fantasy 13 released on Xbox at the same time. I said with Final Fantasy it's not for a long time because Final Fantasy 13 released on well before that but then they changed and now they're going back to. So
but that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean you look at Final Fantasy 7 remake and so I don't. It is hypocritical, and that's why everything should just be on the PC.
Yeah.
That's why Microsoft having exclusives is good for PC gamers because they're releasing them on PC too. So when Sony does that, it takes years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I mean, since we are talking about Sony launching on PC, they are actually doing it pretty well now. And that, for example, Spider-Man Remastered just launched this week, and it's a great port. It's actually well featured. It has both DLSS and FSR support, so for both AMD and NVIDIA customers. And it also runs very well. It supports DualSense features as well if you have the controller, just like on PS5.
Yeah.
So, and, it's interesting in a way because right now there are more Sony games that support these two cutting-edge features, DLSS and FSR, than there are Microsoft games. And that's very weird because Microsoft is a PC company, or
yeah,
at least it should be. But Sony, of course, as you said, their games only come out on PC after some time. But at least they are handling them well. And with Spider-Man Remastered, it's the first game done by Nixxes, and it shows. They bought an experienced PC port studio, and that only goes to show how serious they are about the PC market. I think they even created a section on the website. It's called PlayStation for PC, and the speculation is that it might allow connecting the PSN account so that you can unlock like trophies even when playing on PC, maybe in the future. So it could be interesting.
Sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
It's probably for cross-platform play too, to make it easier. Because they finally opened the door, because Sony was resisting, was not really interested in having cross-platform play, and now they finally opened up about that, so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft certainly helped with that process.
Yeah.
It's something I've been saying for a long time. They've got to go for the PC route, but I do think there'll always be about a 6 month, probably a year delay between a new console game launching and then the PC version. I can't see, maybe, I can see maybe shrink that to 6 months, but they'll never release them simultaneously.
Yeah, not the single player ones, but I think the live service ones probably.
Multiplayer stuff, yeah. I'll give you that one. Multiplayer stuff, yeah, I agree. But yeah, single player stuff, no, never. But other than that,
well, never is a long time. Let's say for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But, and also something else that came out from the Brazilian documentation, Francesco, is that Microsoft said something about Call of Duty exclusivity.
Yeah, they said. Yeah, well, it's an interesting take that, it kind of makes sense. I mean, they said that Call of Duty by itself, if it was made exclusively, it would be profitable for Microsoft, mostly because of the missed revenue from selling it on the other platforms, and it just wouldn't be enough to cover for. They mentioned title-specific costs, which could be marketing or I don't know. They did not specify. I mean, it is an interesting thing. It's probably true, because a game like that, it just, as long as it sells anywhere, I mean, it's just money in Microsoft's pocket. And they also said that they probably wouldn't be enough to move consoles, which is something interesting as well, because exclusives, I think, do move consoles.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, so it's at this point it's not really clear if Microsoft was trying to downplay the importance of Call of Duty, or if they were being truthful.
Yeah. Probably a bit of both. Certainly, they were trying to downplay Sony's thesis, but I think they are probably correct in that it is more profitable to keep it on all platforms than it would be to make it exclusive, even if it sold a few more consoles. But that's not really been Microsoft's goal for quite a while. I mean, they don't even give out console units sales anymore. So,
now I was just thinking that they say this about Call of Duty, but they have other big stuff that now it's probably going to be exclusive, like Bethesda's games, and they probably could say the same.
Yeah, I don't.
That's an interesting
thing is,
take.
I just look at that and they say, we don't, we don't think it will be profitable if we make them exclusive. They're not saying explicitly we will not make them exclusive. They're just making a statement which will help the deal go through. So I just think it's general company lies that.
That's certainly part of it, of course. But like Francesco said, it could be that some IPs, for example, are going to be exclusive even from Activision Blizzard. For example, maybe they will keep Diablo, for example, on all platforms as well. But Blizzard is also making a new IP, a new survival game. It was made basically official a few months ago. And since that one is a new IP, I mean, they could very well make it exclusive. And there isn't anything that the regulators could say about that.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft has been promising that they will keep, the current franchises on all platforms, not every franchise made by Activision Blizzard ever. So,
I just don't believe. I think they'll all go. Eventually, they'd all be exclusive. It's just the way I see it happening. I just don't see how you can't spend that much money and not want to give yourself an advantage through it. It's just nonsensical.
Yeah, it's probably for Call of Duty. I can't see Diablo being made an Xbox exclusive. I mean Xbox PC. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't see the advantage in that. Like they said, the missed sales. Well, it would just be on PlayStation anyway. And I don't know how much Diablo 3 sold on PlayStation, but it probably won't make. It probably won't make much sense financially that they will just. For bigger stuff, I can see. Well, Diablo is pretty big, but probably it's not as big as Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Of course, nothing is big as Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But Diablo, I don't know. I think Diablo could be a multi-platform. I think at least Diablo 4 will be multi-platform because it's been announced as such. So it's not that far away anymore, and they've announced all PlayStation. I think maybe even Switch, or maybe I'm not sure, but I think this one is certainly coming out on PlayStation. The next one, who knows? But it's going to take quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's going to take years, decades, probably.
And also interestingly, there is another Call of Duty related subject that we could discuss a bit. Basically, Michael Pachter, the renowned games analyst, he went on basically on Yahoo Finance Live and said that, according to his estimation, Call of Duty could allow Game Pass to reach 100 million subscribers. And well, it is a lofty claim because, as far as we know, it's still in the neighborhood of 25 million subscribers.
Yeah, I don't see that. I just don't see that myself, but yeah.
Yeah. But he's always saying crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He said that Nintendo was doomed 20 years ago, and Nintendo is not doomed. So.
Yeah. I do tend to think he's a bit full of shit.
Yeah, he just throws out these massive monies just to make the headlines.
I don't even know what he's ever done.
It's probably. I mean, 100 million is a lot, but 50 million, that is double the current amount, I could say, because Call of Duty is big. So and there are also other games. They will certainly add Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, and whatnot to Game Pass. So
yeah. Oh yeah, that can yeah.
It could double up, especially if you consider that next year we'll also have games like Starfield on Game Pass. So that will certainly attract some new people. Well,
but not 10 million. 100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's a long-term goal for Microsoft.
Yeah.
It will take a while.
So yeah, I can't think of it. Yeah. I think that's everything on that side of things from me because I just don't see that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do think they're going to make these things. They will make Call of Duty exclusive. They'd be stupid not to. But they may just wait a few, give it a few years or something. Try and let the dust settle. But you don't spend that much money and not try to make your own system the best system, sort of thing.
Well, they do have a few more years of contractual obligations with Sony, Activision.
And I think that'll be it. Yeah. Yeah. So, what's the next topic then, Alessio? Give us another one.
Well, we can talk about games actually for a bit.
Games?
There was a digital showcase from THQ Nordic, and there were quite a few interesting games there. And especially Alone in the Dark. It's back. It's coming back, and it's looking pretty good.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was one of the many IPs they have purchased over the last few years. And
which of the 5,000? That's about how many they bought.
Yeah, and they certainly have a lot more than they can handle at one time. But Alone in the Dark fans can be, excited again. This new title will be a reimagining of the first installment, actually. But it's going to feature a completely original story, written by actually Mikael Edberg, who is basically the writer behind Soma and Amnesia.
Okay.
So, they talked about the game as well. The developer is actually pretty small. They only made the Titan Quest Ragnarok expansion for Titan Quest, which Francesco reviewed some years ago.
Yeah.
But they've been making this game for I think 3 years now. So it's basically in pre-alpha. And what they showed was pretty good, I think. Combat maybe was a little bit stiff on the animations, but overall it's an interesting premise. You have 2 playable protagonists, and depending on which one you pick, you're getting completely different cutscenes and even levels. Also, while most of the game is set in a mental facility, basically, in 1920s Louisiana, there are also basically magic portals that lead the protagonists away to mysterious realms. So there is some Lovecraftian influence there.
Yeah.
And mechanically, it sounds like it's going to be fairly by the book. Classic third-person horror experience with the exploration, puzzles, secrets, and stuff like that. So it's probably not going to be revolutionary or anything, but it sounds like a potentially solid entry in one of the most revered horror IPs. So horror fans probably should be excited.
Yeah, well, as long as it's better than the last few ones they did, which is not that difficult, to be honest. So it's probably looking up. It's the real survival horror game. I mean, the first one came out before Resident Evil, if I remember right.
Yeah, 1994. Yeah,
insanely early, the very first one. Yeah. Yeah. The last few Alone in the Darks were absolutely abysmal, but they were just farmed out utter shite by the corpse that is Atari. I think that's the best way of putting it. Like you say, I think it's just going to be one of those where you just got to I don't know. Just wait and see. I'm hoping it'll be good. If it's got the influence from, as you say, like Amnesia and such as them, it could be quite good.
Mhm. Yeah, and well, while Alone in the Dark was certainly the biggest game in the showcase, there were a few others worth noting, I think. One is Recreation. So basically, THQ Nordic now is kind of doing spin-offs of Wreckfest. So one is Stuntfest World Tour, and another is Recreation. Recreation is basically a sandbox racing game, and it's set in a huge open world. They've said 400 square kilometers, and you can drive anywhere. And also, it's kind of basically Burnout because it's made from some of the original Burnout developers. Meets Trackmania because you can create courses, tracks, and lots of stuff with an in-game editor. You can also share it with friends. So it's an ambitious game, and to be honest, I'm not that much of a fan of this, racing games that really aren't about being first in a race. But there is, I think, a niche for it, and it's looking interesting at least.
Yeah.
And also, I guess more for more for my taste is Outcast 2. If you remember, Outcast was kind of the first open world game, and on PC it was pretty impressive at the time. And now, well, the sequel is looking very good actually in the first gameplay trailer. You're going to have a jetpack to jump, air dash, glide around the world, and the world is very just like in the original. It's very alien. So it's not like the usual sci-fi takes where it's just Earth with a few flavors,
Yeah.
And it's another, it's another of those IPs that THQ Nordic is trying to bring back.
It could be good.
Relevant.
Be good. Well, is that what I'm seeing when I'm in Germany? That's the question. I can't remember. There's so many games. So many games.
Getting all delayed.
I am seeing Outcast 2 in Germany, so yes, fair enough.
Yeah, that's cool. And
I'm going to, no matter what, even if it's brilliant, now I'm going to disappoint you and say, oh, Alessio, it's the worst game I've ever played. It's like Ride to Hell Retribution, but bad.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, THQ Nordic also showed new trailers for Jagged Alliance 3 and Gothic, the remake. Although I have to say, the Gothic remake trailer wasn't exactly spectacular. But we still don't have a release date, so it could be at least a couple of years away, and maybe they will get it right. Hopefully, because that's another IP that's worth reviving, I think.
It's a weird one. I don't see Gothic as ever really having died. It's just that they moved on to different IPs, Arcana, which was in the Gothic universe, and then obviously they moved to Elix and things like this. So yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
They, just get Piranha Bytes back onto Gothic. You can just make Gothic 4 or 5 or 12.
To make Gothic Ride the remake, they need to make it as janky as the original. Otherwise, it's not Gothic.
If you give it to Piranha, they will certainly make it.
Yeah,
janky.
they will deliver. Yeah,
Yes.
they will
No.
deliver.
They are the originals. Give it to them.
Yeah, they are
What's
the
the jank?
original Eurojank. But overall, THQ Nordic seems to be in that space between AA and AAA, I guess. They have quite a few interesting games, but they're not big, but they are, not small either.
They're big enough. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I tend to like their type games, or I at least try to like their games anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, maybe the next podcast you can report back. Tell us what you saw at Gamescom.
To be fair, we can probably do one before Gamescom, but I'll just upload it and everything before then. But yeah, the one after Gamescom, that'll be the one where, oh no, I probably won't be able to report everything back. Embargoes and everything. We'll see. We'll see.
It will be your show that time.
Or I'll be able to just tell you everything behind closed doors. And, I don't know, play like the Final Fantasy theme tune while we talk about things, just for people to listen to.
Okay. Okay, so what are you guys playing? If you are playing anything.
I don't really know. What am I playing? I was playing 2 Point Campus, which is 2 Point Campus. It's really good. And then I've got a week. I could play a new game and try and get a review out before Germany, or I don't know, or do I just play something random? I haven't really decided. Is there anything?
Well, there is Farthest Frontier. I think it could be a game up your alley.
Who did what now, Frontiered? Who farted?
Create Entertainment. They did Green Dawn.
Okay.
But, it's basically a
Farthest Frontier.
strategy sim-like game, colony building, something of the sort.
Oh, an early access thing. Oh, I could do a preview then, yeah. Well, up to you. I can do a preview of that, or I could play it. We'll have a look after. Have a look. You have a decide. That, or I could find something. But other than that, yeah, I've just been playing the same stuff I always play, which is next to nothing. How about you two?
Well, other than making my way slowly through Xenoblade Chronicles 3, like I said, it's going to take me 2-3 months because there's so much stuff to do. The game does everything it can to distract you from moving the story forward. There's so much stuff to do, and I'm really liking it. I probably get another open world burnout soon enough, but for now it's still good. And what did I play? Yeah, we can talk about it last week. I tried the Diofield Chronicle, which is a turn-based meets real-time strategy game from Square Enix. And I was actually surprised by how good it is. There are some things that just I think they need to be fixed, or maybe it's just because I was given early access to the demo, so it's probably the first chapter that is still, kind of an introduction to the mechanics. But enemies don't, unless the mission objective is to protect something, enemies don't move towards the player. They just go around their loops, and they only attack if a unit gets into their field of view.
Yeah.
And this is a problem with many tactical role-playing games, especially Japanese ones. That if you're not if you're not close to the enemy, they just stand there and wait for you. But outside of this, it's actually, you can tell it's not really high budget because graphics are a little simple. But I think it's going to surprise many people because if this is taken care of and the AI is better than what was in the demo, it's probably going to be a very good game because the mechanics work well and it's more akin. It's not really real time strategy. It's more similar to the Valkyria Chronicles series.
I do like that series.
It's real time. It's real time, but it's not real time strategy. There are still times when you can pause the game, when you have to give out commands and that kind of stuff. There's actually a very good thing that not many games do. It's that there is a you can move all units to a single point with just one button.
Okay.
And that's a big quality of life thing in this type of game. Because you don't have to go, especially if you're playing with a controller. I tried the PlayStation 5 version, so no keyboard and mouse for me. And you know how clunky strategy games are with a controller, so...
I was just going to say, I think you just swore at me there. No keyboard and mouse for a strategy game? Oh, no.
Yeah, well, at least it's coming on PC.
Yeah.
So I'll probably play it on PC when it comes out, because no way I can play a game like that with a controller. It's just even though controls are decent and they even have DualSense support on PlayStation
You know, the
5.
weird thing is, I'm just thinking, one of the very first strategy games I ever played was back on, and I played it on the console with the controller, and it worked back then. It was the original Command and Conquer on the PlayStation. I'm thinking, how have they managed to get worse at making strategy games work on a console?
You know, you just reminded me that my first one was Warcraft 2 on the first PlayStation. And
Back
it was
then, I don't know how they managed to get them to work back then.
And it was playable. And it was playable.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, it's still playable on a controller, the Dual Chronicle, but keyboard and mouse it's going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
If you have the option to do, if you have a decent PC, it's not that demanding as a game. It's actually pretty simple visuals, so it's probably it won't require high-end hardware, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the demo is out on PC as well already. So.
Yeah, the demo is on PC. Yeah, it's coming out on everything on the same day. So yeah.
Fair enough. How about you then, Alessio?
Well, I've been playing some Spider-Man Remastered, as I was saying, and so now it's out on PC, and you should get it if you didn't play it on PlayStation, because it's a really good game. Of course, it's been a few years since it released, but well, you can, cut down on your drinking a bit.
I've been cutting down on that a lot, but you're swearing at me now.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a top seller on Steam now. So yet another success for Sony on PC, probably.
Yeah.
Also, they're going to port Miles Morales 2, I think, maybe before the end of the year. So there'll be both Spider-Man games. And we'll see. They have a Spider-Man 2 game coming out next year on PlayStation 5. So we'll see how long before it comes to PC as well. Hopefully, maybe a year, not more.
Yeah, that wouldn't. Yeah, not too bad. I would imagine a year, but yeah. I think that's everything from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is. And so when are you leaving for Cologne?
I don't leave until the week on Tuesday. It's not next week. It's not this week coming. It's the week after. That's when. So I should be around next Sunday. We can do this. It's just a case of doing it quickly so I can get everything processed up, done, uploaded, and everything and scheduled before I leave. Because I leave Tuesday morning. I will leave home about 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Tuesday morning, and then I will leave the hotel in Cologne about 4 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Well,
Yay, no sleep. Yay.
I know. I'm gonna have to just like drug myself with alcohol on the Friday night. That or just probably just go to the hotel as soon as I've done at Gamescom and just try and lay down in the, get myself fully packed and everything and just lay down and probably, give myself a little extra time, maybe go to sleep around 10, wake up at 3 and then just go to the airport early. Because, well, Brexit
What
has
time
made
is
travel shit.
what time is the flight?
About 8 a.m. But they always say you should give yourself 2 hours in the airport first. So I could probably leave about 5 a.m.
But they say that for the border checks. Now that you have them again,
Yeah, that's what I
because
mean.
that's what they told.
Brexit.
Yeah, because that's what they told. They told us when at least they told me when we were going to the US for D3. I went to the airport 3 hours earlier. Just to
I
get
do
them
tend
done.
to. I don't mind sitting down. I'll just take a reading book. I'll just that or a Kindle, and that'll give me the time.
Use the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, get Triangle Strategy. It's
Nintendo
almost like a book.
Switch.
It's almost like a book because it has 1 hour long cutscenes.
Oh, good.
Well, not 1 hour. I think the longest is 30 minutes, 35
I'm just
minutes.
thinking a reason turn on the Nintendo Switch. That's not happened in a long time.
Are you scared?
I
I
don't know if it's. I worry, it's been turned off that long. Maybe, if I switch it on, maybe everything's corroded and it'll explode. It's like an artifact now. It's been, you could put in the British Museum alongside a Roman gladius, and they both had as much use as each other.
In 40 or 50 years, you will be able to say, this is an excellently preserved Nintendo Switch console, which I never used.
Never used.
Used maybe 10 times. I wasted so much money on that. Oh well. So on that note, I think we'll call it a day, and I will go cry myself to sleep for wasting money on things.
Okay.
Right. We'll see you all in a bit.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.